Welcome to a demo of the Sales Accelerator tool. It's a tool that's been developed to enable salespeople to follow a simple process which will help them accelerate their sales. Now, the tool is broken down into three essential parts. Number one is the account segmentation tool, which will ensure that you are focusing your time in the right places. Once you've segmented your accounts, it's then moving on to setting of objectives and analysis of the decision-making unit, which will affect how successfully you achieve those objectives to ensure that you're focusing your time with the right people. Once you've done that and you've broken that down, you then move on to the action setting stage, the action planning, and that's based on the first two to ensure that you're doing the right things. So we're now going to move on to the first stage, which is the account segmentation. Okay, so what you can see here is a simple 4-box grid, and there's two axes. You've got attractiveness up on the horizontal axis, and the attractiveness is effectively things such as potential, so that you're saying that if I work this account and I'm successful in this account, will that yield good results? So you're going into places where you know there is business, and I'll come on to that shortly. And then across on the vertical axis, you've got probability. What is the likelihood that those people will want to work with you? Because then you have a 4-box grid. You can see you've got 4 priorities, and this is just one that's been done earlier. So what I'm going to do is just talk you through an actual example. So all you do here is you'll click on New Segment. Obviously, the first thing that you want to do here is then put in the title of the segment, Demo Segmentation we'll call it. Then just click Next, and it's really simple. It talks you through the process. You then want to add in the options for attractiveness. Now, obviously, I'm going to put some examples in here, but what you should be doing is looking at your business and saying, what are the parameters, which are the things that say whether your account is attractive to your business or that customer is attractive to your business. So I'm going to put in some generic things. So I'm going to put in turnover, for example. Then you just add another one, and it's, let's say, current sales, because as they say, it's always easier to get business from accounts that you're already working in. So current sales, and let's just put one more in, and let's call it headroom. You then just obviously click Next, and then you're on to doing exactly the same thing for probability. In the probability, let's say access, because if you can get into places, you've got a chance. Then obviously access and relationships, add on there. And again, I'm putting examples in, but I would expect that you would put in your own examples, which or your own parameters that you're using in your business to say this is likely that it's going to happen. And you obviously just click Submit. Once you click Submit, then you then have to, there's a bit of work to be done to make sure that you're going to the right places. So what you can see, we rank attractiveness, and then we will rank the probability in exactly the same way. So the way that this works, we have 6 accounts here. So you take 6 as the highest grading, and then you count backwards. So the one with the highest turnover is a 6, the one with the next highest turnover is a 5, the one with the next highest turnover is a 4, etc. So you just put it in there. So I'll just do 6 for that one. Then that was then 5. Let's just say I'm just doing it very generically. That's 4, that's 3, that's 2, and that is 1. And then you do exactly the same thing for all of them, and what you can see is it's calculating a score. So I put a 5 in there, for example, or 1, it doesn't matter. It starts calculating the score, and they're then relevant to one another. So that's step 1, and then you obviously you'll complete that process, and then you move on to step 2. So exactly the same thing with the probability. You rank them in exactly the same way, and then click Submit. So what you can see here is you've now got the matrix, the account segmenter. It's got the title, it's got the date of that particular segmentation that you've been working on, and then it's got obviously priorities 1, 2, 3, and 4. And obviously priority 1 is priority 1 because it's high attractiveness and it's high probability. What we say is that you wouldn't work priority 4 because it's not attractive even if you were to win it, and the probability of you winning it are low, so why on earth would you work in that account? If you hover on any of these accounts, it shows you what the account is and what it's referring to, what's the probability, what's the attractiveness, and then if you click into these accounts, just click on it, then it will actually take you into that specific account, and then you'll have all of the information on. So we now know what the priority accounts are, and this is obviously the number one priority account according to our segmentation. So we're now going to delve into creating an objective and then the decision-making unit for that objective. So quite simply, you've got objective there, you click in here and you add an objective. So let's say the objective here is going to be to get them to buy Sales Accelerator. Get them to buy Sales Accelerator. Let's say the deadline, because I'm going to be very slow, but let's say the deadline is to do it by the end of May. You just click save. That's then going to add the objective. And then what you want to do is then break that down. So you then going to add some decisions. So what are the key decisions that need to be made that to enable us to achieve that over objective? So we're breaking it down into manageable chunks. So let's say the first decision that we need to make is to get them to watch the demo. And then obviously you fill this out. I'm going to say it's a high priority, because if you haven't watched it, you've got no chance. So I'm going to say high priority rather than urgent. So it's a high priority. There isn't a value to it at the moment, so I'm going to put 0. Likelihood, depending on the account, I actually know them quite well, so I'm going to say excellent. Deadline for that, I want them to do that by, let's say, Tuesday. And then what you do is you're then going to build up the decision-making unit for this specific decision. So who's involved in watching the demo? And I'm going to say, well, Emma is. And I would say that she is a champion. So this is then breaking it down into what sort of support do you have. She's not just a user, but she's the expert decision maker and the software tool advocacy. She loves our company, so that's fine. Then you add in the next individual, and this will automatically have the people that are loaded into the system. So I'm going to say Joanne. And then I'm going to go through it and add the different people. So what you can see here, I've added all those people in. What you can see is that those individuals there, all different. So Joanne's is positive, David is neutral because I don't know him that well. Joanne makes her decisions because she's a user or will be a user of the system. David holds a financial purse string, so he's economic. And then you just click save, and that's then going to take you to the list of decisions page, and then you can add a new decision. So we add a new decision, and I'm not going to go through it all again, but you add a new decision, and then the new decision, let's say decision 2 is to get them to sign up to the launch offer. And then you go through the same process again. Okay, so now what you've got, if you've built the decision-making unit in the background, which I'm going to show you in a minute, but what this is showing is that if you look up at the top here, you've got, this is the account that we're in, the objective is to get them to buy the system, the decisions are then down here. So, that's decision 1 to get them to watch the demo, this is decision 2 to get them to sign up to the launch offer. So that's just a nice process flow, so you know where you are. So if you then click on any of these 3 buttons, and this is the way we built the system, that everything that you want to do, you just go to the side and it will then tell you exactly what you need to do. So let's say we want to view the influencer matrix for that specific decision. So it starts to build and it'll open up. You might have 5 people, you might have 10 people, but on this example, I've just put 3 in there. And what you can see immediately is down the side, it's showing the level of influence. So we're saying Emma is the ultimate decision maker. Across the top, it's showing the way in which they make their decisions. And then the color coding is Emma is a champion, because that's dark green. The lighter green, as you can see there, the keys there, is that Joanne is positive, and then David is neutral. So you've got all that information now around that specific decision, and again, you just look up here and it's got all of the information, so you know what this is regarding to. That's that specific decision. And what you're doing here now is just the final piece of the puzzle is to say, well, who influences who? And the direction of the arrow is the direction of influence. So you just drag this onto anywhere on the screen. You click it into here, anywhere. As soon as it goes white, it means it's fine. And then you then drag and drop it into whoever else it is. And again, you wait till that little circle there goes white. And then this line should be green, which means it's connected. And then you do exactly the same thing all the way through. So you've now built a decision-making unit complete with levels of influence, how they make their decisions, etc., etc. And those arrows just show that you can see the one here between Joanne and Emma is two directional, so it's showing that Joanne can influence Emma and Emma can also influence Joanne. And that shows that Joanne influences David and Emma influences David. So it then starts to build up a picture of, well, who do you need to be speaking to? Well, it allows you to start looking at, well, how are you going to construct your conversation with those individuals and who do you need to speak to influence? So you've now got a decision-making unit, and we then want to move on to looking at your action planning. This is now the action plan. And what you can see is you've got, what's the decision? The decision is to get them to watch the demo. The objective is here, get them to buy the sales accelerator. It's a high priority. The likelihood is excellent. The value at this stage is 0 because it's just getting them to do the demo. That's the deadline. The number of actions in there at the moment is none, and therefore with nothing completed. You've got 3 people involved in it, and it's a high priority. And this is just really reflecting exactly that information, but it's in a list format. Now, what you can see here is it obviously once the decision is complete, you complete it off. You can export this as a PDF. This has got all of the information that you need, and then you can edit this as you want to update it. So the next thing is that you want to go into adding a new action. And I'm just going to fill one out. So send the demo video as an action, because obviously if one of the actions is to get them to watch it, then we need to send it. So those are just the key steps that you need to get done. Put all the dates in, etc. Reminder, click your reminder, so that obviously this works through Google Calendar, but it'll send the reminder to you, and then you add it to the Google Calendar. And then once you save it, then it'll take you to the Google Calendar to make sure that it's added in. It'll ask you to sign into your Google account, which I will do, and then it'll then drop that action into your Google Calendar. So what you can see here is the list view. It's dropped into Google Calendar, which I'll show you in a minute, and you see that action is down here, which we've just added. So send them the video, and that's obviously the decision is to get them to watch that video, etc. And then there's the reminder that's also in there, and it's saying that 2 days from now do you send the reminder, 3 days from now is when it's actually due. And then the navigation will then, you can then click on to see the detailed notes and actions, and then you can view the related decision, you can complete the action off, etc. So all that good stuff. What I just want to show you on this one is in the actions, then you've got the calendar view, so that you can, just to demonstrate that obviously it's dropped in. This is now synced with the Google Calendar, which I've obviously done before. So what you can see, there's obviously other actions in here that I've created, but what you can see here is that you've got the send the demo video, which is the reminder for me. You've got the send demo video, which is the actual action, and then you've got the decision is to get them to watch the demo. So it's all tracked in the calendar view, and obviously up here you can go to the Google Calendar if you want to see it in the Google Calendar, but there you can see some other objectives that I created earlier, which are, that's the deadline, it's the 22nd to get them to buy the sales accelerator. So if we then go back to the view actions, just so that we can drop in to just have a look at what the actions look like. As I said, 3 buttons, going into here, and then you say view, action, details and notes, because that's then how you work with the actions, you complete them off, etc. So then you can see, again, this is the decision to get them to watch the demo, that's the objective, that's the account, and then this is the specific action details. If you want to edit the action details, you can. If you want to view the account plan, you can go back to that, which the action plan give you all of the information there. There's the reminders, etc. And then you can make notes, you can complete them off, etc. to get back into that. Just a couple more things to go back to. So if you go back to the objective, okay, so you can see this is the list of objectives. This is the objective we recreated, getting them to buy the sales accelerator 2 weeks from now. There's 2 decisions in there, which obviously I've just created. And then if you want to have a look at the objective details, which just gives you the whole process that we've just gone through, you can then see that that's the objective. The decisions are here to get them to watch the demo and to get them to sign up to the launch offer. You then go into here and it will give you the view of the decision, and then that gives you the action plan, which we've just discussed. So that gives you all of the information there. And then the one last thing, just from the objective point of view, that again brings it all together. So if you go back to the view objectives, then you've got all your objectives, all your decisions, etc. And now I'm actually going to go to one that I prepared earlier, because there's a lot more objectives and a lot more things in there. It's got 5 decisions. So I wanted to show you this feature, which is basically the Gantt chart for this objective. And it allows you to see it in one overview, which I think is quite nice. So that is the objective. These are the decisions, the 5 decisions that you saw in there, and then these are then the actions that spill out of that, and that's gives you that view, so you can look at it across there just as an overview, but then this gives it you by actual time and when the deadlines are coming in, so you can see it's a decision, action, decision, action, and then that just moves on until you're actually, that's obviously the deadline for getting them to trial it. So hopefully that's the whole process captured in this Gantt chart. I think it seems quite simple, and it is. It's simple, but it's effective because it's a proven process, and it encourages all of the team to work with a clear methodology that is very transparent. It's visual, I hope you'll agree, and it's based on ensuring they are working in the right places with the right people and doing the right things. So I hope you found this demo useful, and we look forward to seeing you start to use it.